All right, what's up, nerds? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, along with the lovely.
Fantastic.
And we had a couple little technical things here happen right at the last second. But we are live now, and it is good to have you all with us today, because today we're talking about the Snyder Cut. Imagine that. Like this thing that's been around now for a couple of days that, well, I mean, a lot longer than a couple of days, but you know what I mean, that we've known that we're getting for a couple of days now. And we got to talk about it. And there's so many different angles and things to talk about when it comes to the Snyder Cut and how it's going to portray, how it's going to play out, how it's going to happen. But hey, if this is your first time to the lounge, just know this: the Poindexter Lounge is a place for nerds. It's a place where you and me and my crew can get together and we can talk about the things that we love, be it TV shows, games, movies, sci-fi, fantasy, Star Wars, Snyder Cuts, toys, and so much more. And if that sounds like something that you'd like to be a part of, or the kind of things that you like, please hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you here as a subscriber. And you know what? So we got a giveaway for the month of June coming up, because we do that here on the channel. And if you become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, you'll be in the running for this, the Complete Al.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I love this thing. I love this movie. This movie.
A
If you've never seen this movie,
long time ago.
tell you what, if you've never seen this movie, this is a fictional documentary of Weird Al Yankovic and his life. And so, anyways, that's all I got to say about that. Welcome. And so today we've got in the lounge, we've got, of course, we got Jason up there.
How's it going?
We got Johnny.
Hello, hello.
We've got Harrison.
What's up?
And of course, we've got Caleb.
What's up?
Now, Zach is not around. Zach is busy saving the world, his world, right now, because his world is his new little baby. And so, congratulations to Zach from the council for sure. And then Isaac may pop in here at some point.
Did you respond?
I did not see that he responded.
Okay.
But he may pop in here at some point. He had told me he was going to be here, but
He may still be sleeping. Who knows?
yeah. These days, man, I'll tell you what, it's nice to maybe kind of be coming out of these days, because yeah, sleep patterns get all messed up and everything.
Absolutely.
But so as we know, guys, the Snyder Cut presents many different options, many different possibilities, many different things. So the three things that I wanted to talk to you all about today, that we're going to talk about today, and actually two things that I wanted to talk about, and something Caleb brought up that I think is a great idea. One is, what do you personally want to see from the Snyder Cut? There's a lot of talk about what's in the Snyder Cut right now. Like, there's a lot of speculation about what's in the Snyder Cut. It's like, and you got all these people posting different things, and God love them. I love them, and I support them, and I'm happy for these people. But there's a lot of people who are just like, they think that literally everything is in the Snyder Cut, that
Right.
the Snyder Cut is going to come and save us all and take us all to a heavenly realm where DC, and look, I wish it would, but when I get my head out of speculation land for a minute and I look at what's there, it's like, okay, well, what is actually going on? Like, what is actually going to be in this thing? Let's take a look at what is actually there. And then I think about, what would I want to really see in this movie? Do I really want to see some of the things that people are talking about? Because people are talking about a lot of crazy stuff, even in the Snyder Cut. Do I want to see those things? And am I going to hype myself up to be disappointed if I believe that, and then it doesn't happen, right? So that's the first question presented to you all today: is what do you want to see from the Snyder Cut? And then Caleb came out with a great thing. If you could save one thing from the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, because we've said it a lot that, you know, Justice League, it's okay. It's not great. It's not the masterpiece that we would expect from a movie called Justice League, but it's okay. And there's good things in it. So right now it's kind of like, you know, some people act like they can pick out, you know, what was Joss Whedon and what was, you know, Zack Snyder. And there are some things that you definitely can, like, for sure. But, you know, the question is if you could keep something from the Justice League that came out, what would it be? And then finally, we've got to talk about it, because it's absolutely ridiculous and absolutely over the top. And of course, I've already made 2 videos. I got another video to make because I'm on a personal war, a never-ending battle, as it were. Apparently, because people have lost their minds. People are going crazy. These haters, now they're coming after anybody who supported the Snyder Cut. They're trying to say that they're not, but really they are. They've made up this new line about it being the Snyder cult, that we're all just crazy and that we're all vindictive. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're calling us bullies. Andy Signor is kind of leading this thing. There's a channel called Jody's Corner that is connected with Andy and Jody. Unfortunately, it's really unfortunate. And this is my next video. So, but Jody came out. And I don't know if you guys follow him or watch any of his videos, but my goodness, this guy literally. It's very unfortunate because he's African American and he started comparing AT&T to being slave traders. Slave masters controlling Warner Brothers, who comparing Warner Brothers to the house slave, that basically they just have their way with Warner Brothers and have told Warner Brothers what to do, and made it very, very uncomfortable for everybody in the room. Anybody watching that video is just ridiculous. And now putting out t-shirts that say #reject the Snyder cult. This is how crazy we've gotten in just the last 2 days, that people literally have gone from, I can't just admit that, you know what, I was wrong, that there is a Snyder cut, to now full on insanity, that we're putting out t-shirts and stupid stuff and trying to get into these racial fights now about a cut of a movie. So, Council, that is what I have for you today. Also, don't forget, if you're here, we will be taking, because we're live, we will be taking some of your questions, your comments, and going through some of those. So make sure to let us know how you feel as we discuss these things. So, Council, I call you to order. This is what is presented before you today. How do you feel on these things? Johnny, I want to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you guys? So
Not that infectious smile.
So
It just got weird.
hey, so thinking about some of the things here, like first of all, what do I want to see in the Snyder Cut? It's more like, what do I want to feel? Because for me, when I watch Man of Steel, and then when I watch the BVS extended cut or director's cut, I get this feeling that there's more out there, that there's more coming, that it just, maybe that's just my own, I'm projecting my feelings onto it, but you get this sense that there is more happening in this world. And that's one of the things I want to be able to experience with the Snyder Cut, because I feel like all those, whether it was, clever Easter eggs or, points that were filmed that point to future events that we didn't see play out in Justice League. I feel like there's stuff that was being built up to that we just didn't get, that feeling didn't continue. Justice League is okay. It's an okay film, but it felt like it was outside of that feeling.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I mean, it felt like it existed outside of what I had been feeling like I was building up to. And I want that feeling that there is, because I feel like that feeling, listen to me speak. My opinion is that feeling would have paid off at the end of Justice League, when we really see and experience the power of Darkseid and see exactly what's going on and what's going to happen. And I didn't get that payoff there. And I want that feeling to be there. I want that feeling that, there is so much more going on in this world, and there's so much more that I need to be prepared for, because, I'm not seeing everything happen right in front of me.
Well, I think you bring up a great point, because the point is that it's a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know? Like it literally, Joss Whedon came in and wrote 80 new pages of script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why it feels different, because I mean, like, you take a movie and you chop it in half and you go, or chop it in really in like 3/4, because Zack Snyder said only about 25% of his movie is in that movie.
Right.
So you chop a movie up like that, and then you say, well, here's the new movie. You know, and that's what I guess I don't understand about these people who are hating on the movie. Like Andy Signor came out and said that like he didn't understand the statement that Snyder made, that like we're making a new movie. They're trying. There's this narrative all of a sudden that the Snyder cut never existed. Right, that what we've been fighting for, what we've been hoping for this whole time, never existed. That they're making a brand new movie right now. First of all, you can't make that movie for $20 to $30 million. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
Justice
like,
League budget edition.
Justice League. Yeah.
that's the man. It's like
Justice
I'm
League
Batman.
brought to you by Dollar General or something.
I was gonna
right?
say,
Why'd you
right?
say that name? But no, so you can't, you know, so there's that, but like they don't understand the idea that Zach had a movie made and it got changed. You know, so like, yes, this is going to be different than the movie we saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Darkseid wasn't in the movie we saw. Darkseid is in the movie that's coming. Green Lantern, we got one little Green Lantern flying up in that little flashback scene.
Yeah.
We're getting Green Lanterns in this movie. You know, so like you said, I understand completely when you say that you don't feel like it paid off with what you saw, because Zach was telling a story.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's what I want in the Snyder Cut, is I want that feeling of, okay, I'm still watching that story. I still am getting that same feeling that of connectedness, of more to come.
Mhm.
You know, and whether this pays out with more films or television in that universe, if it does, great. If not, I'm fine with being able to see what he wants to put out there creatively. And you know, and then thinking too, what do I want to see that I liked in the theatrical version come out? Even though we only got about 10 seconds of it, I was really intrigued by Deathstroke. And so, and I don't know if that was a Whedon insert or if that was part of Zach's vision to have, and I'm going to murder his last name, Joe Manganiello. Magnello. I don't know whose idea that was, but I thought
Zach actually casted him, but he didn't film anything with him yet.
okay. And I was like, man, he looks like he could pull off Deathstroke, and that suit looked great. And I'd like to see him tangle with Batman a little bit. So I'm hoping that somehow Deathstroke is involved. That's one of the things I would save from the theatrical cut. That was what, the second end credit scene, or was it the first one? There wasn't
the
there
only
like
end credits.
The second one.
oh, there wasn't a mid credit scene there? Okay.
Yes, at the very, very end, because he
Yeah.
shows up on Lex's boat there.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, but you know, Johnny, you're absolutely right, because that. So we just watched BVS again the other night. It was on TV, and it was the Ultimate Edition. And we got to the scene where, in fact, it was funny because we were wanting to watch another movie. We were going to pop in another movie, but it was on TV, and so like we had the DVD ready and everything, or the Blu-ray ready. We're going to put it in, and like, but Batman v Superman was on TV, and so it was like it just kind of pulled us in, and so we're watching it. And it's that scene on top of the building with Lex and Lois where he pushes Lois off. Then Superman comes up there and there's whole exchange between. And man, I sat there not even realizing that I had stopped everything that I was doing. Right? Here I was on my way to the TV. I was on my way to the Blu-ray player, putting that stuff in. All of a sudden, like, I had stopped. And I just watched that entire scene, man. And the intensity in that scene. The acting in that scene, phenomenal. And the stakes in that scene where you know, people can mock it all they want to. And look, at this point, look, I'm on Facebook, I'm in different, you know, rooms and stuff like that, different threads and stuff, and there's people still are like, oh, but DC's still garbage. And I'm like, keep telling yourself that makes you feel better. Keep telling yourself that. Oh, it's not going to make any difference. It's still going to suck. Keep telling yourself that, because the thing is these movies have proven anything. They age better with time. And the thing is you put movies on TNT, TBS, and stuff like that, and they get replayed over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
And even the TV versions are still
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. We all know how many bad movies are out there that get replayed on stations like that become heartwarming things that people connect with because they were kids and they watch that stuff over and over and over again.
It's like with Big Bang Theory. Like when it airs on CBS, everybody's like, "Oh, it's offensive. It's bad for nerds." And then you watch it on TBS, and you're like, "This is actually pretty good." The reruns and stuff.
So the thing is it becomes enduring to people, right? But man, watching the scene there, I told Tiffany by the time that scene was done, and like he's got Superman on his knees in front of him, his eyes ablaze because he's angry at the fact that he's kidnapped his mother. He's found out
it was his woman, and he's like, no, everyone knows that his favorite woman is his mother.
But he's sitting there, his eyes are ablaze, and he realizes he can't kill Lex because Lex doesn't even know where his mom is. He literally is throwing pictures, snapshot, Polaroid pictures of Clark's mom at him. I mean, just like tossing them at him, right? Superman is enraged, but yet in fear, in pain because it's his mom, and he's doing pictures of his mom bound and gagged with the word witch written across her face. You don't get that in a Marvel movie.
No, I mean, and
you don't get that kind of intensity, man. That level.
Exactly, and that's what I mean about that feeling. Like that's what I want in the Snyder Cut, because as much as Justice League is a movie I can enjoy with my 9-year-old son, or it just didn't feel like there was too much Aquaman, giving smug looks to the camera, going, "Hey." It was just like it felt very.
It was an action movie.
It did, well, it felt more like an Iron Man movie than it did, any like a Justice League movie, and it was
kind of a cartoon.
It was, and I think I'm not even in the same universe as creatively as like a Joss Whedon or anything like that. Okay, I think he did what he wanted to. He was given latitude to say, "Give us your vision," and that's fine. But when I see the Snyder Cut, I want to get that feeling of high stakes, of bad people that are intent on doing harm, that will do real harm.
Before we move on, I do want to announce. I would like to announce from the hills. I want to acknowledge Andrew Farr. He gave us a super chat of $10. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
You're awesome. Thank you. I told everybody in the live chat. So yeah, I'm going to in just a second. So every time we get a super chat now, all of a sudden I'm going to do my preacher thing. Thank you. Thank you for believing in us, for giving to the Poindexter Lounge. For you guys shall be rewarded, my brother. Thank you. Make a point of connection. Put your hands right there out to right to the screen right there where you are. You have made a connection with the lounge, and we thank you. Oh yes. Oh yes. Thank you so much, Andrew. You are awesome. And Andrew said, Andrew joins the conversation. He says, it's asinine that Jody is calling us bullies and comparing AT&T to slave owners and WB slaves. This is stuff you hear in politics or news media, not over a comic book movie. All I can say is wow.
Well, and that brings and for my feelings on the third point about all this craziness out there, I think 99% of it is people just trying to get the clicks, the views, the likes, to get their name out there. And to make those comparisons between, there's certain things you don't talk about. I don't care who you are. And I think you have to be very careful when you talk about things like slavery. You have to be, you have to make sure everything's in perspective.
Yeah. Right. If you brought a slave from the past to today and like read them that comment, they'd be like, I feel like this person has no idea what they're talking about.
Well, and I think too that
they'd be pretty. I would venture to say they'd be pretty angry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's I don't.
They probably have no idea what a movie was, but
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, and you've got just people. It's whataboutism, right? And so, well, what about this? What about that? I can go what about anything I want as long as it's relevant, as long as it's not relevant but related to the current topics. People are going to check it out,
Right.
and so that's now we're seeing all these ridiculous opinions. I love the stuff you put out there, Enosh, clapping back against some of these articles out there. I mean, they're just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just it's out of hand.
Clickbait.
It is. It's just people trying to jump right on in.
Yep.
And
Get
thank
my
you,
name in
Eric.
the
Eric
conversation.
says he likes my passion, and I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But yeah, no. The thing is that we've got to. It's like we go through these cycles where it's like we get bored about one thing, like something is really really hyped for a while, and then we kind of get bored about that, and so it's like we got to make up this stuff, right? And that's my problem with like some of these YouTubers, these critics, these people who are like all about this stuff all of a sudden. And that's why I feel like I got to say something. Look, I've got almost 9,000 subscribers, right? This guy's got over 100,000 subscribers, right?
Well,
Like, but the thing is that I can't just sit back on something like that and go, oh yeah, no, that's smart, because somebody's got to be a voice. People got to rise up. That's what the Snyder Cut was all about. That's what this hashtag, push was all about, was saying, look, Warner Brothers messed this up, and they messed it up royally.
Yep.
And we know it, and we just want to see the original version. We just want to see what was out there, and give Zach a chance to put out his version, And now that it's coming, it's like these people can't stand the fact that somebody else is happy.
Well, it's like it's out of their hands now, right? In before the announcement was made, we had all the power. We had the hashtag. We had the fundraising for suicide prevention and awareness. We as fans had the power. And now that it's an official announcement, oh, well, now AT&T's got all the power. Now the ball is in their court, and they're going to give it. I think some people are freaked out. Now they don't have anything to complain about or campaign for. So, the easiest way for them to get to feel like they're involved and to put the attention back on them is to be anti-Snyder Cut.
Well, and the thing is like this Jody guy making these T-shirts, right? And like Andy Signor has come to his defense saying, well, this is actually a bait because he's actually researching like where to give all the money to charity, right? It's like a $35 T-shirt that says hashtag reject the Snyder cult. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but he's like, it's actually a bait because all these Snyder Cut people, they don't understand that he's actually researching where to give the money to. And I don't know if you guys ever watched $3 Theater. You ever watch $3 Theater?
No.
So he's a pretty nice guy. I don't agree with everything that he always says, but he's always pretty level-headed. This guy is. I mean, and he's worked in the industry a little bit, and he kind of reminds me, Johnny, is if you and Zach had a kid. Like, just saying. But Matt Jarbo, and so, but the thing is that it's like he said. He literally, he's like, because they said that this Jody guy is researching where to give the money to, right? For the money to support, suicide prevention and all these things, right? And then like Matt literally says, so I took 2 minutes, I pulled up like which organizations Zack Snyder has said officially to support. He's like, it took me 2 minutes, got him right here. What kind of research are you doing? It's this thing. It's like you're trying now to pull money away from the legitimate sources who are literally trying to raise awareness. And that's what I don't understand. Like about all this, it's like, if you don't like the movie, fine. If you don't want to see Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, don't get HBO Max. Don't subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Don't watch other videos. Don't do any of that stuff. But why would you try to take away from the happiness of people who are excited about it, and then also literally start a campaign that could either confuse people, because they were releasing hashtag release the Snyder Cut t-shirts as well. Okay. They actually did that. Did you guys watch Harley Quinn?
Mm-hmm. The animated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember a couple of weeks ago when they showed the two guys who were like sitting in their room, and like they were a couple of nerds, and like the one guy had to release the Snyder Cut t-shirt. Yeah. So these guys also released a t-shirt based on that t-shirt, right? That guy.
Oh, that's the same people that were.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they do this t-shirt, and it's like, what are you guys doing? You know, like, why do that?
I seriously think you need to make a t-shirt of your own, because we have a Patreon where people, or not a Patreon, but we have a merch.
But see, like, I don't want to make a t-shirt because one, I'd rather point people to the real source and say, hey, go to Zack Snyder's page. Go to these pages where are actually hashtag Snyderverse. I could say here all day, well, I made a Snyder t-shirt and I'll give the money. But look, then I got to be responsible for getting the money, sending money, doing all that stuff. I would rather campaign and say, look, go to Zack Snyder's website, go to Zack Snyder's pages, channels, whatever, the official pages and channels that do those things, and give to them. Because that's the way that you're going to know that the money goes to the place. Why make up some stupid story?
Because then it's about you. If you've got to do it, it's like I said, it's about you, and it's not about the charity. Like I said, that's where I think a lot of this hate's coming from, is that people want to bring the focus back on them.
Yes.
Because which is just ridiculous. It's all about.
Let's continue with. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
It's because they were wrong, and they hate feeling like they were wrong, and they're like, so now they've got to create a new boogeyman.
Yes.
The boogeyman before was, there is no Snyder Cut. Everybody's complaining about nothing. It doesn't exist. It'll never happen. Now that it's happening, egg on the face. Okay, now I've got to come up. Oh, see, well, that's just toxic fanboys. It's
they hate accountability.
Exactly. So it's now they've just got to create a new boogeyman, something to be mad at. It's kind of pathetic.
Yeah. Hey, Jason. So why don't you continue, man? We're going to continue with some positivity, but hey, we are going to continue talking about all three topics through All Out. So, so just so you guys know, we weren't going to do it like 1, 2, 3. I just figured we talk about all these things.
That was like 45 minutes for Johnny.
Way to hog the camera, Johnny.
Sorry.
All right, Jason. All right, man. So tell us, what do you want to see from the Snyder Cut?
All right, I made a list here of some of the things that I want to see from the Snyder Cut. First things first, give me the Martian. Give me the Martian Manhunter. Want to see it. Another thing I'd really like, and I think we're probably going to get that, and I think a lot of people really want to see that. One of the things I'd love to see happen, and it popped into my head when we were doing the live stream of Man of Steel, when they get sucked into the Phantom Zone. And he's like, are they dead? I don't know. I would love it if Darkseid releases Kryptonians from the Phantom Zone. And you get like Feora coming back, and she's like, Zod is dead. And she's just furious.
How good was Feora?
Oh, she
really
was
good.
You know, its own reward.
Oh my God.
I love that IHOP battle where like Superman and with his best friend from high school just lock eyes.
Pete Ross. Yes.
And like he's like, is that Pete? And Pete's like, is that Clark?
And when she's like, you're weak, son of Bell.
What's that?
When Feora's, taunting him, you're weak, son of Bell. You care about these people, and that's your weakness. I think her coming back, and like you said, she was great. I've always said Michael Shannon was a great Zod, but he didn't have to be Zod. There were other people that could have played him, and it would have been fine. I think she was, I thought she was far more intimidating than Zod was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just seemed far more ruthless, willing to, just. He talks about, I'll make them suffer. She was the one. If she had not gotten sucked into the Phantom Zone, she would have been the one that would have been like, "Watch me hurt them all before I kill them."
Well, because she was dedicated to Zod.
Yeah.
And she was going to carry out his wishes. He doesn't have to be that, because she's literally his right hand person who's going to carry out those wishes and is going to do the killing.
Yep. So I would love it if Darkseid released the Kryptonians from the Phantom Zone.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Another one, I want to see more things from Apocalypse. I want the Furies. I want Calabac. Give me Granny Goodness. I think especially since they do want to do a New Gods movie, kind of set up that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just, and Steppenwolf is fine, but there's so many other threats that can come from Apocalypse besides just Steppenwolf. That the Furies in and of themselves, let the Furies duke it out with Wonder Woman. How much fun would that be?
Who are the Furies?
The female Furies, Darkseid's kind of honor guard to go in and start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're led by Granny Goodness.
Granny Goodness, man.
I remember Granny Goodness from the Justice League cartoon.
Speaking of the Harley Quinn TV show, you guys see the last episode?
Not yet, no.
Where she goes to Apocalypse?
Mm-mm.
That wasn't the last one, was it?
No, it's not the last one. That's another thing we got to jump on. We got to save that show.
I know.
We got to save that show. But anyways, sorry.
More Batfleck, and give me finally Darkseid. Those are the ones that I came up with. That was my list. What I would save, I'm with you, Enosh, when we talked about Justice League last time. I really liked the Parademons.
Oh yeah.
I thought they were designed well. I thought they weren't, So one of the things that Marvel is well known for is the faceless army. I think we got some of that in Suicide Squad with the weird looking Enchantress's army.
Yeah.
But at the Parademons
release the ear cut.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that you want more? You're not just going to be happy with having the Snyder cut. Right. You're going to actually fight for more. You selfish person, you are such a horrible person, Caleb, that you would even insinuate that you want more beyond the Snyder. See, you just can't be happy. You just can't be satisfied, can you?
He's so entitled, that Caleb.
You're so entitled. So toxic.
I feel so
release
bullied.
The J.J. cut. Release the Gareth Edwards cut.
I
Everything.
want all the cuts.
All the cuts.
The cuts. Let me just put it out there right now for all you watching. You all can be mad at me. Yep, I want all the cuts. Any cut that's out there that Warner Brothers screwed up and messed with. You know what? I'm gonna go back.
Cuts of beef.
I want the original cut of Superman 4. All right, I want everything put back in it with the original Nuclear Man. I want it where they cut out all the story stuff that didn't make sense. I want all that. I'll take any cut that I can get. Why not?
Release the Singer cut.
Release the Singer cut. 3.5
hours. Did we get the Singer cut? Wasn't that the problem?
Give me back the original Predator with Jean-Claude in the rubber suit.
There you go.
The rubber purple suit or whatever. If you see that's the new.
What about
right. Release the Schumacher cut.
That was the problem too. We got the Schumacher cut. You know what though? I do want to say how happy should we be with AT&T right now?
I love it. Love it.
Like all these people talking about how AT&T is so horrible, and obviously the comments that we mentioned earlier, right? But AT&T, just go to their Twitter, man. Mm-hmm. AT&T is fully in this thing. They're posting pictures from Justice League, of Gal Gadot, of Ben Affleck as Batman, and you bring up the Ayer cut. I keep saying Ayer. I don't know why I keep saying Ayer, but the Ayer cut. But here's the thing about that is that. People started asking, they're like, well, what about the Ayer cut? Right? Just put it out there, and they're just like, hey, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. But even Ayer has come out and said, look, the movie's pretty much done. Right? Like, you're not even talking about something that has to be even redone. Like, he's like, there's some effects maybe. He says, but it's pretty much done. And I love the fact that they're just like, hey, you know what? We want to give the fans what they want. We want to give the fans these things that they've longed to see. What can it hurt?
Right.
And to see a company jump, we don't see that. You don't see that where a company like AT&T, and look, I've had my gripes with AT&T. All right. I have gone to war with AT&T before over Uverse, man. They totally messed me up. So AT&T have not been my friends in the past.
And they're confusing as heck. like DirecTV, AT&T TV Now, HBO Go, HBO Max, HBO Now.
Yeah, but I will say this. This all makes up for it. I will gladly have taken the hit that I took on that Uverse deal 5 years ago to get the Snyder Cut and to get these other things, because I think it's fabulous that a company would step up and say, look, we bought this property. We bought, we bought Warner Brothers. So now we own DC. Why don't we do something with it?
Yeah.
Why don't we do something positive with it? Like, why fight the people who pay your salaries? Why fight the people who want to give you money to see these things? I
have some things up here. One, Eric said release the fire cut of Ghostbusters. And then Ellie the Creative, or Eli, I'm not sure. It's Eli.
Yeah, Eli.
Eli the Creative says, I kind of want to play devil's advocate. Jody is known for not liking the Snyder Cut vision. Jody is a Superman / comic book pursuit and doesn't like different dark side interpretations, prefers optimism. And then Eric also said, I'd be happier with a Blu-ray, but I'm grateful it's getting released at all.
So that's an interesting point, because I had that in my live stream yesterday. I had somebody who kept going on about optimism, about bright colors, about, not wanting their superheroes to be dark and brooding and all that stuff. Look, and this is how I feel, and I would appreciate you guys' input into this. And I know, Harrison, you're a big Marvel fan, so I know that you dig all the Marvel stuff. And look, I like the Marvel stuff. Don't get me wrong. I like the bright and the colorful and stuff. But like I just said, like, one of the things that I really love that DC has done is they have differentiated themselves from Marvel by saying, we're going to take serious approaches to these characters. Like I said, you wouldn't get in a Marvel movie, the Lex Luthor thing, with Martha Kent being bound and gagged and having witch written across her face. You wouldn't get that kind of seriousness.
Yeah.
And so for me, I understand the bright and the bright colors and all that stuff, but that hasn't been the comics for a long, long time. That is some Super Friends 1970s, 1980s approach to some of these characters. And for over 20 years, almost 30 years, well, more like 30 years, the DC comics have taken a more serious tone, have been more introspective and those kind of things. So I respect it if somebody says, I just don't like the take. Right? It's not that. It's not that at all. It's like what Johnny said. You can't start a story arc, though, that starts and says, okay, this is the direction we're going. This is our Man of Steel movie that's rooted in seriousness and realism. And then here's your Batman v Superman movie that's rooted in seriousness and realism and like the real world applications of what would happen if we made first contact and the aliens came and tried to terraform the planet and destroy everything, and one survived, and he says he's a good guy, but we don't know for sure, and he could literally destroy everything. And I'm Batman, like, what do I do about that? And you got that seriousness, and then you move on to a Justice League movie that's like, hey guys, what's going on? High five. Let's take on this Steppenwolf dude, right? Like, hey, whoa, party time. Excellent. Like, it doesn't, that doesn't compute. That doesn't make sense. You got this guy Steppenwolf coming literally to come over and destroy the planet. And you're marveling it up like they did in Avengers, where it's like, thousands of people are dying. When those ships crashed, one of the things I love about Man of Steel, everybody complained about the destruction, but they handled it in the right way. Like, literally, like, the streets are empty because people have fled. People are trying to get away. People are freaking out. In Avengers, you got ships flying through buildings and everything, crashing everything. People are dying, and the Avengers are sitting around posing, and they're doing a little spin move because that's a cool camera shot, and they're all like posing and like, oh, we're superheroes. And look, that works in a cartoon. I get it. But like, what about those people who died? Like, they never address that. They never really, and they kind of do in Civil War a little bit, or and not in Civil War, in Winter Soldier a little bit, where, they start talking, trying to hold them accountable, for some of the stuff that happened. But really, does that ever really play out? It doesn't really get to the bottom of it, and it doesn't really address it. It just kind of like glances it over. And that's what I love about these movies. I mean, like, what do you guys think?
There was a glaring hypocrisy with that. Man of Steel. You and I talked about that a little bit, Enosh.
Yeah.
Where people were, well, why didn't he take the fight away from Metropolis? Well, what's he supposed to do? Follow me, Zod. Let's go to the Sahara and fight. Like Zod. Hey, why would he go? Because his whole goal is to, he said, "I'm going to kill them all. I'm going to take them away from you. These are the people you've picked, so I'll kill them."
What's he gonna do? Pull a Goku and just grab him and fly up into the sky and wait?
Right. Another guy who can fly. Like, I'm gonna fly you out of here. Well, I can fly too. I mean,
I can fly back.
Right. So, and the hypocrisy. What again, you talked about Man of Steel, and it was very realistic in how that would have gone down. But nobody gave Avengers any grief over New York getting wrecked. We all know tens of thousands of people would have died in a situation like that. I mean, those big, weird, dragon-looking things were just
snake dragons.
We're wrecking buildings left, right, and center. You're telling me they were all evacuated? Of course they weren't.
Well, the only problem, and that's the problem that I have with that, and I mentioned it yesterday, is that all of that destruction, all of that stuff happens. The only time that you actually start to feel any weight or any like concern for anything is not for the people at all. It's when Tony goes through that space hole.
Yeah.
Like, people are dying left and right, and the only time you feel like anything is like any kind of surmountable problem is when Tony goes to the space, and it's like for one person. Now, Harrison, I want to hear from you, man. What do you think about it? Because I know that you're a Marvel guy and you love that stuff. So
I think for Marvel fans, I think why they don't think about the people is because the build. They're so excited about seeing their heroes together, fighting together for the first time, because the build. They're not going to think about the lives at stake. They're not going to think about the realism. I mean, we are, of course, but the average fan, they're not. They're just going to be excited that they're going to see Iron Man and Captain America and Thor. Okay, so, what can they do together that's going to make them even greater as a team?
But Harrison, why? And I get that, and I'm fine with that. Look, I'm fine with telling a story that's like that. And like it was just mentioned, Eli just mentioned, he says he thinks that the reason why Jody feels that way is because
he's just afraid that the Snyder Cut will be the main universe, not the HBO parallel Snyderverse. So he's worried.
But the thing is, these things go in cycles, right? So whatever happens here, it's going to play out, right? And eventually they're going to have to do something different. So like for a while, we've had bubblegum. We've had bright colors and Christopher Reeve and all those things for years. We had Batman versus Robin, and we had, Batman Forever and the Riddler and all that stuff. We've had that. This is our opportunity to have a serious, theatrical run. And that's what I would like to see. But Harrison, I understand your point, but that yes, people just kind of want to see that. But then why do you think that people hold Man of Steel to the coals on the exact same thing? With Marvel, they've given it a pass. They're just like, well, we just want to see our superheroes do our stuff. We just want to see our heroes fight. But with Man of Steel, they've literally taken it to task and said that it was a horrible movie because Superman failed. He did not take the battle away from Metropolis. And they act like the movie is awful for doing the exact same thing.
What makes no sense.
Well, I want Harrison to answer that because Harrison was talking, right? So I want Harrison's idea on that.
I think some fans will say anything just to say something towards a movie, just because they have a Superman that, like Henry Cavill. I like Henry Cavill as Superman, and you guys know that.
Yes.
But some people don't like Henry Cavill as Superman, which I respect. So if someone doesn't like Henry Cavill as Superman, they're going to say anything to discredit the movie.
Yeah.
Whether they agree with it or not.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I agree with there needs to be a difference between Marvel and DC. That's going to be the difference. And I like DC. I do. Because there needs to be a realism. I love that scene, what you were talking about, Enosh, when Lex Luthor and Superman were on the roof, I love that scene. You actually reminded me of that. You know, that's a pivotal moment in the movie, and it's like you as a fan are sitting on the edge of your seat. What is Superman gonna do? You have a god on his knees. Where is my mom?
Yeah.
And the bat symbol in the background and what he's offering him.
And you have Lex Luthor, who's just a typical guy. I mean, he's a very smart guy, crazy guy, but he's just a mortal guy, and he's got a god on his knees. So yeah, but I do think there needs to be the difference between DC and Marvel, the realism.
Yeah.
Factor.
Do people think that, let's say DC had gotten their universe started first and had gone with that lighter tone? I'm convinced that Marvel would have been like, well, we can't be seen as copying them.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to shift we've got to go with a more serious tone here, because DC's kind of got the light and the colors and the jokes. We've got to take a more serious tone with Iron Man here or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a kind of, well, Marvel was first on the scene and did that. DC was like, well, we like the idea of the connected universe, but we can't just come in and rip off Marvel. That's just, you can't. The fans would, and it's so many. I think a lot of it was not hardcore comic book fans who were kind of upset with the non-universe building, because the characters that DC was launching with really didn't need a whole lot of universe building.
Yeah.
B, Iron Man, hardcore comic book fans know Iron Man, but Iron Man was kind of viewed at that time as like a B-list Marvel character.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
now their A-list guy, aside from maybe Spider-Man, but at the time he wasn't.
Nope.
He wasn't Spider-Man. He wasn't the X-Men. He wasn't guys like that people knew for various reasons. So, you need to universe build some Thor. I mean, who really, that he's not a name at that time that people know, like a Superman or a Batman or a Wonder Woman, that you can just say, here's Batman, and people are like, got it, I already know.
Yep, I'm in.
Yep,
I'm in. I got it.
Right. Yeah, you can pull that off with Spider-Man like they did in the Marvel universe, because people know Spider-Man. He's one of the Mount Rushmore of superheroes. But
yeah,
you throw in Black Widow and people are like, what? Who?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they know him.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think
absolutely. Yep. They
I
know.
think that Marvel has done a fantastic job of building their universe. You can't take that away from them.
No.
And I would never even try, because they've done a fantastic job of introducing characters. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had never even heard of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Me
They were
neither.
so far off my radar that I had no idea who they were. And when Tiffany and I saw the first trailer, I remember looking at it and going, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! They got talking raccoons and trees. This is going to be."
And of course, I'm like, oh, this looks cute. I'm gonna give it a try.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, there's no way people are gonna love Rocket Raccoon. Because I'm thinking, like, as a comic book nerd, I'm like, oh, I used to read those books every now and then, but nobody else is gonna like it. Boy, was I wrong.
And I take the hit on that. You want to talk about being in the other thing, like with the Snyder Cut thing and Andy Signore and all these people like who were just wrong. I have many times come out and said I was completely wrong about Guardians of the Galaxy, because now I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's to me one of the best things about Marvel.
And when we got to meet Michael Rooker, it was
Oh
awesome,
my gosh.
because we actually talked about it in the movie and scenes and stuff, and he was just as cool in person.
Yeah, but the thing is like that those movies are great. The second one wasn't as good as the first one, but the first one was. I mean, the second one was still good though.
Except for that one.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on. I mean, some of the best scenes in Marvel are in those movies and those characters you care about now. You care, and and then the Groot thing. The Groot thing, I cannot stand Vin Diesel. Okay, Vin Diesel, to me, one of the best things about that movie to me is the fact that they gave Vin Diesel one line, and that's all he gets to say, because I can't stand Vin Diesel. But the thing is like, seriously, how big did Groot get?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just saying, I am Groot. People loved it, and then they made him Baby Groot, and everybody just lost
Baby Groot
their
was
mind.
cute, but he's still not as cute as Baby Yoda.
No, but the thing is that they They literally, blew that up. So you can't take that away from them. It is what it is. So they've done a great job of building their universe, but DC couldn't do the same thing. They couldn't just do that. Caleb, you had something, and then we're going to get to a couple comments. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, but I did want to get Harrison's take on that because he was in the middle of the answer.
I was just saying that it's a completely different thing, because like when Marvel goes dark, everybody freaking loves it. Like in Civil War.
Oh my gosh.
Like when Tony finds out that Winter Soldier killed his mom, and Cap's like, "You can't do this. You can't give up who you are. You're a hero." And Tony just looks at Cap and he's like, "I don't give a crap. He killed my mom.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kill him."
And that's the thing is it's definitely it's definitely a thing of like, I don't understand why people feel like they have to pit the two against each other. They can't just like what's out there. Right. It seems, right. And support it, and they don't have to be the same. Now, Tiff, we got a couple comments.
We have a couple statements that are actually really good. Vincent said, anything involving Darkseid should be dark because it's part of his intimidation. If we had a very light-hearted Super Friends tone, Darkseid would be less menacing and appear less dangerous.
The problem with Thanos, they set Thanos up to be this amazing villain, like the main villain, the bad guy. And then by the time it was done, like, he's out farming, right? Like, and he's sitting there with Gamora. And I know that that's an oversimplification. Yeah. Okay, I get that. But the thing is,
a purple hamburger.
But the thing is literally the guy has the power. Like, he did wipe out half of existence, but did it really feel? You can tell me.
World ending?
I didn't feel like. I always felt like it's going to get fixed.
Yep. Oh yeah, you don't go into it thinking, oh well, Spider-Man's definitely dead. Doctor Strange is definitely dead.
Well, you probably had that initial shock of, oh shit, it actually. Oh, sorry. It actually happened.
Now I got to stop the video.
Like
dang.
He did it.
Go ahead. Yeah. No, I mean that's
like
things like
yeah,
it's like, okay, they actually did it, but then from like the minute that they did it,
how are they going to undo it?
It was like, okay, how's it just going to be undone? Right. And yeah, we lost a couple of characters. And I'll be honest with you, the Tony Stark thing felt very like that one hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Did the I Am Iron Man from like the band.
That one hit. Cool. And I like that. But they're already talking about bringing Tony back in some kind of capacity.
Force Ghost?
So Force Ghost.
Sorry.
AI.
Too soon?
But so the thing is, it's like everything that Marvel gives, it seems like they try to take away. And I don't want to harp on Marvel because that's not the point. No. Because I don't want to be the opposite of that and be like, well, Marvel sucks, because I don't believe that. I'm just saying, in contrast, it feels like when something hits hard in DC, it hits
that way.
Yeah, it's that way. You got to deal with it, right?
Because everybody has a mom. Right?
Yes.
Well, that's actually.
Well, and that's the next comment.
That's the next comment that we got from Wesker for Life. It says, hate how people simplify the Martha scene. They compare it to Step Brothers and say it's stupid. Batman and Superman become friends so quick.
Oh, all right. That is
the best friends. Yep.
That is such a thing for me, because people, they shut off their brains when it comes to that scene, and they don't get how important that scene actually is. It's the thing that shows that Superman to Batman is, for lack of a better term, he may have all these powers, but he's still just a guy who's got a mom who loves him and he loves.
Yes.
And his last act, he's thinking Batman's going to kill me. Once you're done killing me, please go save my mom. Please go save her from Lex, because obviously I'm not going to be able to do it because you're going to kill me. Please go save my mom. And that's what snaps him out of it. That's what.
And he doesn't just say Martha. He doesn't just say, he goes, you're letting them kill Martha.
Yes. This is on you.
You're letting them kill Martha. Because just rewatch the thing. And it's like, that's what snaps Batman out of it.
And
because
the thing is,
wait a second.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Caleb.
The thing is, he doesn't even register the Martha of it. He doesn't register until he doesn't throw away the spear. He doesn't stop trying to kill him until Lois comes up and is like, "That's his mom's name," you know.
Yeah.
Batman.
They can say, you know, why did you say that name? But it's like when she had to even say, you know, you realize, wait a minute, we both have moms. They're both the same name.
Batman couldn't save his Martha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He has a chance to save this one. And that gets through to him. You can see the way Ben Affleck portrays that. It's getting through him.
Well, that's why he tells Clark.
That's
why he tells Clark, Martha won't die tonight.
Yeah. I give you my word, Martha won't die tonight. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I mean, we've talked about that. It's such a powerful scene.
It again today.
And it's so sad that people literally act like it's a throwaway scene.
Yeah.
And that they don't get it, and they compare it to Step Brothers. And I love Step Brothers, don't get me wrong. That's a great movie. But no, it's not this, Martha, it's my mom's name, it's your mom's name. It's not that. There's so much more complexity to that that has been set up in the movie from the very beginning of the movie, where it shows Martha Wayne dying.
Yeah.
That's what Wesker just said. Snyder does great openings in BVS. The Waynes get murdered again, but Zach gave it so much impact, even though we've seen them die so many times. Also, Watchmen opening is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when he said when Thomas Wayne says Martha, it sets it up, and then later on, with Lex Luthor says Martha and sets that up. So by the time it comes down to the Martha moment,
Martha means something.
Martha means, at least it should, if people pay attention to the movie.
You know what would be great is if people would watch that nightmare sequence he has with when he's going to Martha's grave, and then watch that with the "you're letting him kill Martha" scene right away. Because if you watch that nightmare scene with like Man-Bat or whatever is coming out of that crypt, and you watch the "you're letting him kill Martha," it would make total sense to everybody. But there's like an hour between that, so people they forget that's what haunts Batman so much, and it just totally it makes absolute sense. The only if you're arguing about it, then you're missing the point, I think.
Well,
and that scene, of course, shot only about 25 minutes away from where we live.
But I think it's interesting too, though, just to see Batman's mortality there, because in that same scene where he's sitting there talking to Alfred, he said, "I'm pretty much saying I'm older now than my father ever was," because he surpassed his dad in age and everything else. And he's telling about the story about, what his dad used to tell him in the Wayne Manor and stuff like that. But it's like, he's surpassed his parents, and now he's trying, he's struggling with, what to do, because it's before that scene where he's trying to fight Superman
and after he make
things safe.
And after he snaps out of it, it's also cool how he tells Alfred, as he's flying away to go save Martha, he says, "I don't deserve you, Alfred."
Mm-hmm.
Because Alfred the whole time has been trying to talk to him and say, "Hey, snap out of this, Bruce. This is not you. This is not who you are. This is not what you have fought for the last 20 years. This is not what you want to do." And he was so, just blind, just tunnel vision on trying to protect the world from a possible issue with Superman, that like he never even stopped to think about the fact that this guy could be here to help. And if he's here to help, let's support that.
We've got three quick things here that all echo what's been said. Squidmaster79 said, "Brett Culp, documentary filmmaker, did a great video about the Martha scene." Baldhead says, "All valid information here, but people are still going to fight that whole Martha scene down."
I know.
And then Eric says, "Poindexter, if you haven't seen Saban's Power Rangers movie, I recommend it. Also feels like a Zack Snyder movie, and it's better than Justice League." Damian Anton Vincent says Bruce was becoming the monster he despised.
Yep.
And then Baldhead says, "What do you think about Batman killing folks in BVS?" Which we can come back to.
Well, yeah, let's come back to the killing part. So we will hold on that, but I want to get Harrison's thoughts. What do you want to see in Justice League, in this new Zack Snyder Justice League that we didn't see in the other one?
I would like to get a little more backstory on Flash, even if it's just like 5 minutes. I would like to see how his dad got in prison, or I know how, or we did know how, but like maybe like an actual video footage of like his reaction to it.
Okay. Yeah.
And that way they don't have to address it in Flashpoint. They can just tell a story. And then what I did like in Justice League, what we got is the demons. I do agree with Jason.
Yeah, the Parademons were great.
Yeah.
What a great representation of those characters. I mean, like you said, they're you think of them usually as the stormtroopers of, of the DC universe, or the you just brought up Power Rangers, the putty guys, it's like so dispensable and everything. But man, they looked great.
Yeah, they did.
They just really looked great. And no, but I like that, man. The Flash. I mean, like, I like the idea of fleshing out the Flash's character a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be more in there with Iris West, with him saving her. There's that whole scene that we didn't even see in the movie where it was in all the promotional materials, where like he's putting his finger through the glass pane, and she's supposed to be outside with a moving truck or something like that, and he goes to save her and everything.
Just a little bit more that could have been added that you, like he said, like Harrison said, you don't need to add in his Flash movie.
Well, I think that's the thing, is like some of these people, some of these scenes, they got cut. You just needed a little bit more, right? You just needed that little bit more to just kind of explain who these people were, so that you didn't just throw them into the world, right? And just say, well, here they are, just deal with it, so yeah, no, I think those are great things to see in Justice League. What do you guys think?
The only
I
thing,
would love to see.
Go ahead.
I would love to see like the Flash's Zen movements back from the theatrical cut, because I thought that was really cool. Like he's focusing his chi or focusing the Speed Force, like doing the hand palms and like stretching and all that.
Yeah, I like I know a lot of people harped on the Flash and Ezra Miller, because like some of his movements look a little awkward and stuff like, but he was literally like, he's still trying to harness all that. Right? I mean, it's still pretty new to him at that point, and he's still trying to figure some stuff out with the Speed Force and how he harnesses it all and deals with it all. And yeah, man, just I see so
he's so new to it.
Yes, I see so much potential with Ezra Miller as the Flash when it comes to portraying the Flash going forward.
Right. You can tell that Cyborg and Flash are still figuring everything out. It's not like Diana or Batman or Aquaman, who've kind of, Aquaman's been Aquaman since he was born, and kind of there's not a whole lot that's going to change about him. He knows what he's doing.
They're the kids.
Yeah. Superman's been doing it for a while now too, when he comes back. So it's like these two are the ones that are, you can tell Cyborg is it's just now everything's kind of coming together. That one scene where that I thought was pretty good in Justice League is when he's like, I can fly now. Couldn't do that yesterday. So you're like, he's still figuring everything out. So, let them be the newbies. Let them be they're still needed on the team, and they're still valued members of the team, but they're still kind of taking their first steps. They're still learning.
Well, characters like that represent the fan watching the movie, because we're experiencing a lot of what they're, we're not looking at it from a confident standpoint necessarily. So it's like putting us in the movie of like how we feel and like our uncertainties and our insecurities about different things. And so to watch them grow up through a movie, I mean, it's like any hero's arc, right? Like you're supposed to experience those things with the heroes where you have those insecurities, you have those unsureties, and then you grow up through the course of the movie or whatever you're watching, that hero's tale. So by the end, you're so much more confident, right?
Like Iron Man does that so well.
Yes.
When he comes back and he's trying to put the suit together, and he's he almost dies because he goes up too high and he got too cocky and all, there's a lot of mistakes that he makes with that suit along the way that, burning his own cars and all, it's like people forget that he didn't just go, all right, well, I built the first one. Now I'm going to come back and build the second one. It'll be perfect. There's trial and error that goes into that. Just like there's trial and error for the Flash, trying to figure out how he's so bloody fast.
Yeah. Caleb, what do you want to see in Justice League?
I would like to see more Green Lantern, other than like the stills and stuff we got from leaks. Something I would really like from the theatrical cut is keeping Aquaman's speech in from when he sat on the Wonder Woman's lasso. Yes. I would love it if they extended that sequence and they passed the lasso around and they bonded,
Yeah. No, that's a great scene. That's the thing is some of the comedy in there is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it has to be like the darkest, most dreary thing in the world.
Right.
It
should be a little relief.
Yeah, absolutely. There has to be some relief to the tension. I mean, I love that scene.
Like the snack hole.
Yeah, the snack
I love
hole.
that.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm all for that. I'm not like one of these people like who's just like anti-comedy. I think you got to have some lighthearted moments. It's a superhero movie, for goodness sake. So yeah, I love that moment where he's like, because it's so off character, and Jason Momoa is just going on. He's like, "You're hot, you're this stuff," and he's just like, and then he's like, "Wait a second, oh yeah."
You say anything, you'll meet every piranha I know.
And Tiffany, what
Yes.
what would you like to see in Justice League?
Now I think it's funny that you guys are like, I don't want to be all dark and dreary and everything, but some of the things that I actually want to see more of is the dark. Well, not to be ironic, but dark side. I wanted to, they showed the Omega symbol and they showed his nightmare scene and it's like they showed little snippets, but I wanted to see a little bit more of that. I wanted to see that more fleshed out, which I'm hoping that we'll see in this Snyder cut, just because you have that, you have the parademons. I want to see more of that story along with Darkseid. I didn't feel there was a threat with Steppenwolf, but not as much so as I think there would be with Darkseid. So, and especially if he was behind the scenes and all that, and finding the mother box, so it was almost like he was the Palpatine to it all. So I would like to see more of that story fleshed out. But I also would like to see, because I know that they showed it more near the end, you got to see Lex with the shaved head, and you got to see that scene where he's, pretty much losing it, and he's like, because he can hear Darkseid, and I want to see more of that Lex, that story. Bring that like 5 or 10 minutes out just a little bit to like set up the next one, which then in turn, same thing. I wanted to see Joe Manganiello as, Deathstroke, or, at least set something up to where we could see a little bit more in another movie, in Batman 2 or Superman 2 or something.
Lex was supposed to have more of a role. He definitely filmed stuff, but yeah, I mean, the end of BVS, he's going ping, 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 ting, 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 ting.
Oh, that scene is spectacular.
Yes. And that's what I want to see more of, because he was great in the movie.
The bell has been rung.
Yes,
they heard it. I mean, that whole speech, for those who know,
that's the essential Lex I wanted to see.
For those who know, and that whole thing with the picture, talking about demons coming and stuff, basically foretelling of Darkseid. And then the end where he's like, the bell's been rung, they heard it, and it cannot be unrung. He is coming.
He's found us and he's hungry.
Yes. And then we never see Lex in Justice League.
Yes.
Like it's like Joss Whedon was just like going through, like, I gotta add all this stuff, and it was like I almost feel like Joss Whedon had to be on opening day going, oh, wait a second, I forgot to put Lex in, like, because
let's
seriously,
shave his head and make him,
like, you know what I mean, like, seriously, because how do you not have Lex in any capacity after you made him a part of that like he connected?
That's the kind of Lex I want to see in Man of Steel 2.
It's like forgetting to invite the birthday girl.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like you have the whole party set up, and then it's like you forget. It's like you act like you ignore what just happened. My goodness.
Speaking of that, of Lex and Batman v Superman, I want that original design of Steppenwolf from the deleted scene that was put on
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's supposed to be the case, I think, isn't it? That
Yes.
he was like, no, it was going to be much more. That was going to be an organic, robotic type
Yes.
of thing.
Well,
Not
they kind of Disney-fied him.
well, and that his CGI wasn't particularly good in Justice League. It was it would have been fine 10 years ago, but now it was just not good. And I don't know how Joss Whedon could look at that and think, yeah, that works.
He looked out of
Joss
place.
Whedon also looked at the mustache and went, yeah, that works.
He looks good.
Somebody
Good
got
point.
fired over that.
I'm sorry, Johnny. Go ahead, man.
I was just say somebody should have got fired over that, but you know, hey.
What I don't understand about the mustache thing is there are many times that Superman has grown out a beard.
Yeah.
In the comics. Like it is seriously, it's been a thing.
They
Like
showed him wearing it when he was on the oil rig in the first one.
I mean, even in Man of Steel, he had a beard, right? What would have been the problem to say he was dead, right? He was in this regeneration thing. Why couldn't he have come back with a beard? Your hair and nails keep growing after you die. like
I think
just say something. Anything would have been better than this.
I don't know that Universal would have let him grow out the beard. You know, so much of the mustache was because Universal was like, no, he can't shave it. He's making our movie. So any changes, they'd have been like, no, you get him how he looks right now. And that's it. So you got to work around it.
I would have been fine
I guess,
with
but it
the
seems like you could have
mustache
shaved
Superman.
that. I don't know.
But the whole thing that bugged me about that is,
mustache.
how long does it take to grow a mustache? Be like, we need him for a week. He can grow it back in 2 weeks. Who cares?
Well, I think it's more just kind of they kind of were just trying to stick it to WB at that point because it's a movie studio and whatnot. But I don't know. It seems like such a petty thing. Yeah. And unfortunately,
but power to Universal, man. That was such a boss move, though. It's in his contract, so.
Yeah, we got that movie.
One of the greatest power moves in the history of Hollywood. The
mustache contract. Mustache contract. Did you have anything else, Tiff?
Not really. The one thing though that I would like to keep, because we keep talking and I didn't write my notes down, so there was one thing that I can't think of right now. If I think of it, I'll pop it back up to say it. But one of my favorite scenes actually in Justice League was when Superman comes out. You know, it's his first time out in the square with all of the Wonder Woman and all of them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, pretty much say, snap out of it. You're not Superman right now.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if he's like shirtless with his dress pants on because he was, just came out of the grave kind of thing. And it's like, he's got every superhero. He's got Wonder Woman. He's holding back everybody. Flash is thinking he's going to like get around him. And he just literally like turns, and that look that Flash is like, oh crap. Like he's holding everyone back. And it's just like that power of Superman, even when he can't remember who he is at that point. That's the kind of stuff that I want. I love that, and I would love to keep that in just because to me that was like, it was funny and serious, and it showed just like the sheer power that Superman had.
Yeah.
So I love that, and I also have Isaac's notes because he can't be here.
I want a better version of that conversation that he has with Batman if they keep that in, and not the I don't not like you.
Yeah. I bought the bank.
Right.
I bought the bank. Yeah.
I don't even mind that scene. But no, that's a great scene, Tiff. And I mean, and he's got the lip in that thing. So you got to assume that that's a Joss Whedon thing. But that's a great scene. And
it's just the look that he gives. I mean, because you see Flash thinking he's like,
I'm going to run around the side.
Yeah. And all of a sudden he gives that look like seriously. And it was like, oh,
just that out of the corner, just like, I see you. And then like it goes to Ezra Miller and he's like,
yeah,
he's
just as fast as me. Oh crap.
I'll tell you.
Speaking of Batman, I want more of what's his name as Commissioner Gordon.
J.K.
Yes.
Simmons, yeah.
Yes, that's one of the
farmers guy.
Yeah.
Farmers insurance.
I can never remember his name. I always want to just call him J. Jonah
Bum,
Jameson.
bum, bum,
J.K.
bum.
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, yeah, cool. Because I get to the J, and then it's like instead of going to J.K., I go to J.J., and it's just like it's done. Yeah, no, that's one of the sad parts about that is that we never really got to see his full version of Commissioner Gordon. Now mine is a little bit different. So I want to see more Superman. I want more Superman in Justice League because I felt like one of the things that disappointed me is like you have Justice League, but yet like Superman didn't ever feel like a main part of that movie.
Except for, is this guy still bugging you?
Yeah, and I get that he was dead. I get that you have to bring him back to life. But from some things that I've read, it seems like with the Snyder cut, he brought him back a lot earlier, and Superman played more of a part in the movie. I thought it was sad that like in none of the promo stuff leading up to Justice League, Superman wasn't in any of it. All those promo
Except
shots
for that dream sequence.
Yeah, all those promo shots and stuff. I mean, it's all just the other 5 people. And it's not the other 5 heroes. It's not Superman at all. And I miss that because it's like it's Justice League. Now, after the movie came out, they inserted Henry Cavill into all those pictures,
because
and
they
we got
people
him.
to not know if he came back from the dead or not.
Yeah, but I mean, we had to know that Superman was coming back. I mean, they
He's in the Justice
so
League.
I get what they were trying to do, but I think it was a detriment though because it's Superman, it's Justice League, like
he's kind of a big deal.
Like that's what you want,
That's
right?
true.
I mean, you want Superman in it.
Yeah.
That, and if I had to keep something, I like there's a couple of things that I like. I like when Superman shows up at the end that he is heroic.
Yeah.
That he is that way. But it depends because if they go full on where they're going with Zack Snyder, and obviously it's Zack Snyder's thing. But it was supposed to be a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
For the next Justice League movie. And apparently Superman was supposed to be controlled by Darkseid. So I don't know what we're going to see there because I just want to eventually get to that Superman because I agree with like the bright colors and stuff like that, like Superman being this beacon of hope and everything. I want to see that arc, right? Where Superman goes from originally a Man of Steel, being unsure of himself, trying to learn the ropes, becoming Superman, going through the thing where he tries to go out and do that and gets rejected at first until people are able to see that he's willing to sacrifice himself for humanity, and then have that arc where he comes back and he's like, hey, I'm Superman and I'm, here I am. I'm here to save the day. I
believe in truth.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, I love justice. I'm a big fan of truth, whatever, I like truth, whatever. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see that Superman, right? And then I really love the first teaser at the end of the movie between Flash and Superman.
They're
The race.
Yeah.
comic book.
Mustache Cavill side.
Yeah, like
Without the mustache, though.
actually, and then like in all those scenes, that actually probably is one of the best looking scenes.
Yeah.
With him still having the mustache removed, I love that scene.
Yeah.
That scene as a comic book fan, it makes me happy. when I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's what you want to see, and so I hope that they don't. I hope that Zach has other things to kind of balance that, because I know a lot of the jokes were Joss Whedon, right? So a lot of that interaction between Flash and Bruce when he's talking about brunch and all that stuff, I know that's a lot of that's going to get cut out. So I hope though that there's. I think it's probably going to make the Flash look better. Going back to Harrison's point, I think it's probably going to make the Flash look better in a lot of people's minds because a lot of that harebrained kind of wacky acting stuff that Ezra's doing, a lot of that was Joss Whedon.
Yeah. One of the other things that I hope is gone, this just popped into my head, was the just stupid sexualization of Wonder Woman in it. that I think of that one scene where she's going to meet Cyborg, and the first thing we got to see is her butt,
right?
And tight pants. And it's like, look, I get Gal Gadot is gorgeous. We all see that. We all have eyes.
But she's not a piece of meat.
Yeah, come on. We don't need it. That's not what, you know, the scene where the Flash falls in her cleavage. And it's like,
that
she even refused to film that scene. That's not her. That's her stunt double.
Yeah.
So stuff like that where you're like, what?
This is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, we got such an amazing portrayal of the character in Wonder Woman, and then you know the Amazons and the bikinis and stuff like that. It's like you don't need that. Get rid of that. Let these characters that are strong, powerful characters. We don't need boob jokes and butt jokes in it.
I don't know if you can hear what Tiffany said. Tiffany always, I keep telling her, like, when you have a comment to say, you just need to say that comment. Cause like a lot of our videos, like I try to raise the audio level on them because like she's back here, she's just making this like this little kind of comment behind. And like, I get it. And I think it's hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great comment. But like, I can never raise the audio just enough. So why don't you say what you just said there? Cause I don't know if everybody could hear you.
I said it's refreshing to hear from dudes.
Yeah.
I'm not like this like powerful, like, yeah, women have to, you know, but there's just times like you said, you know, even in Wonder Woman, as good as those movies were, there's a lot of scenes where she's doing the fight scenes and it's almost like it's like an upskirt fight scene, you know, kind of thing where sometimes it's like, I want to see the roadhouse. I don't want to see the butt cheek.
she's a powerful character. Yeah. And she's hardcore, man. She's
pretty, she's powerful, and that shows through without having to show boobs and butt and everything else.
Right. I saw that in a theater and I instantly went, why? Why can't you just go talk to Cyborg? Why does she have to be wearing tight pants? Why can't Wonder Woman throw on a pair of sweats to go talk to Cyborg? Who cares?
Why is Alfred always making comments about Batman and his date with Wonder Woman?
Even yoga pants.
Right. Well, who cares?
Yeah. You know, the thing is about that is like you said, there's got to be a level of respect with the character. Like, I don't even have a problem with the pants necessarily as she was wearing. What I have a problem with is that they start off the scene like right on her butt.
Right.
I mean, like, why is that needed?
Right.
You know,
look, we've all read the comics. We see what she wears in the comics. We've seen Power Girl. We've seen, you know, Ice and Fire and but
that's not her superpower.
It's to distract. She distracts her enemies and then can beat the crap out of them.
Johnny liked that one.
But here's the thing: you don't have to do that on Wonder Woman's butt in Justice League.
No,
it's not necessary. It was pandering. It was disrespectful, not just to the character but to Gal Gadot, and because she proved to all of us that she's a fantastic woman. I thought she should have been nominated for an Oscar for the role. I just, you don't need to do that. And look, again, I get she's gorgeous, and I don't necessarily have a problem with Gal Gadot's butt, but I have a problem with that
conversation. The council has taken a different turn.
It felt disrespectful to the character and to Gal Gadot herself. So I'd like to see that stuff go.
When the actress herself refuses to shoot a scene, that should tell you that something's probably off.
Yeah.
Alfred also just felt weird in that movie in Justice League. Like in Batman v Superman, he's so professional. He's like he's what you think a butler would be, and then he's cracking jokes in the next movie about, hey, are you having your date with Wonder Woman yet?
Some of that's Alfred though too, because Alfred has always been one to give Bruce a hard time. I mean, like he's pretty heavy on Bruce in Batman v Superman. Yeah. You know, I mean, he comes down hard on Bruce a lot in Batman v Superman. So, you know, but like you said, it's finding the right things to say. You can say the same thing generally
in a different way, yeah.
In a different way. It doesn't have to be crude humor. When you're watching something like that, you're not, you know, you're hoping that they don't just go for the lowest common denominator. Yeah. You know, when it comes to something like that. Johnny, did you have something?
I just, you know, as someone, you know, I've got 3 kids, 2 daughters, and my youngest is a boy, and I think if we're going to look at this Wonder Woman here, as proud as I was for my daughters to see Wonder Woman, you know, her solo venture, and you know what we got to see of her in BVS, that was cool. You know, they loved it. They love being able to see a woman that can stand up and fight and be just as powerful as the boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never, you know, I felt like she was downplayed in the Justice League we saw, but now that you bring up that other stuff, it's like I had totally wiped some of those things out of my mind, or maybe I just didn't notice them. But I'm like, you're exactly right. I mean, it's sad to see how some of those scenes can define a character so powerful. And it's just, as someone, like I said, as someone who's got two daughters, I'd rather, you know, that is hurtful to think that someone that they should be able to, you know, admire and
Yeah.
look at for strength is portrayed as, you know,
Eye candy.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
that's, yeah, you're right. I did not know that she had refused to film that scene.
I didn't know that until
It
recently.
shows her.
Yeah, I didn't
And-
either.
Well, and it's cool. I remember having a conversation with my girls when the Wonder Woman movie was coming out. I was like, you know, listen, Gal Gadot, she's someone who was a member of the Israeli Special Forces.
Yeah.
This is a woman who can actually, you know, not just kick
Kick your
all their
butt.
butts, but like you know, everybody's butt. I mean, she is,
Right.
Yes.
you know, she's quite powerful. And then, you know, then her whole Imagine thing happened, but that's, you know, I'm just going to pretend like that video didn't happen. But,
People
so,
singing badly. Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I think y'all make really good points though with that. I mean, it Wonder Woman should, the Wonder Woman movie portrays Wonder Woman the way she should be portrayed, with respect, with dignity. Are there even some times where like people look at Wonder Woman in that movie and go, wow, right?
Right.
Like what's her name? The one little short lady.
Steve Trevor's assistant.
Yeah,
Um,
the Candy something.
Pat. I think it's Candy Moon. I don't know.
Something like that. Tiffany's,
Etta Candy.
Etta, yes.
Etta Candy. So when she like makes it like where she's just like, you know, she takes notice of how gorgeous Wonder Woman is, right? And that's fine, you know. But then it's like also like when Wonder Woman starts talking about like, you know, her as a secretary is like, that sounds like slavery to me.
Well,
You
there's
know,
a difference
like, I like her.
between celebrating that she's a beautiful woman and exploiting
Yes.
that she's a beautiful woman.
That's
Yes.
the point.
I mean,
And that's the point. And so yeah, I hope that some of that gets fixed as well in this. Now, Isaac is not able to join us today, but he did send along some of his thoughts, and I figured we could go ahead and talk about some of his ideas and thoughts for what he wanted to see in the
He's
movie.
actually at his dad's, so they're trying to finish the basement, so he has another room downstairs. But he did say, what I want to see are a new way that brings Superman back to life. I didn't like how Cyborg just said mother box, and Bruce is like, if Barry runs fast enough and touches the cube at the exact moment, then it can bring him back.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Exactly. He also said more Deathstroke and more Lex Luthor, so he was on the same page with all of us for that. He said a little more convincing for Cyborg to join. I like how it took Aquaman to come face to face with Steppenwolf to join, and it took Barry to see Bruce was Batman to join. He says, make the world see Superman is back, because we didn't really get that in Justice League. We did a little bit.
That's an excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
That's an excellent point.
Now, how does the world respond to the return of Superman?
Like in the theatrical cut, like at the end, Superman just shows up in Metropolis, and everybody's like, "Wait, aren't you dead?"
Yeah.
You don't think they should save that for Man of Steel 2 if it happens? Because
Well,
that's a great story.
Well, I think it's a great story,
Or take that, but then expound on it in the next movie.
yeah, I think in the next one you get. Well, I think Man of Steel. I mean, let's hear this, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
He only had a couple more points. He said, if Darkseid fights the Justice League by himself, I want him to take them down effortlessly to show how strong he'd be over the next two movies.
Yep. Have him wreck them.
Mhm.
Yes.
He
Pull
says,
a Thanos Infinity War.
yes. He says, and then what I would keep, was how Aquaman and Flash joined the Justice League and how Bruce feels like he needs to bring back Superman.
Yeah, that guilt.
Yeah.
That Bruce feels. I love that part. That Bruce, like when Bruce finally realized that that he was wrong, unlike Andy Signor, he didn't come back with T-shirts, to kind of be like, Superman was really a bad guy, but
Hashtag release the Krypton from his
release the Krypton cut.
Release the Kryptonian.
Right, like Superman was okay, but he did get taken over there, for a second and tried to kill us all. Hashtag. No, but seriously, I like that. I like that Bruce felt that weight, that guilt. It's like, man, we got to do something. But I appreciate Isaac's comments there of that. It was a little simple, right? I didn't like the way that they brought back Clark either. Yep. Because, like that whole, right at the right second, anytime something gets solved like that, it takes away from the build up to it. It takes away from the weight of it. It's like,
I felt like they kind of copied that scene when Tony Stark discovered time travel, right? They're like, he's like, well, wait a second, I figured it out. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Like I spent 2 minutes on it, and now all of a sudden, like, oh, I figured it out. Just took me a minute. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Like how do you go to Perry White and you're like, oh, by the way, Clark's alive. And he's like, I was at his funeral. I saw him laying there dead. What are you talking about? He's alive.
That is one thing, yes, that I want to see. I want to know how Zack Snyder because that's in Batman v Superman. Yeah. That's not in Justice League. So I want to know how you go from having a funeral procession for Clark Kent in Smallville with apparently a body.
Did they have an open
or at least everybody
there was
kind
no
of a
casket. Yeah.
They did?
Yep. Because you see him laying there with a picture of his dad in a coffin.
Oh, okay.
So how do you rectify that?
Yeah.
Because it's not because in the death of her.
Well, Zach's talked about that.
What's that?
Well, Zach's talked about that. He says that he was pulling what they did in the comics before what they did it. He said that Clark Kent was dead and Superman was the person who would come back.
Yeah, but
he wouldn't have his secret identity anymore.
Yeah, but that can't be because at the end. Well, I mean, I guess
at the end of Justice League, you see him open the shirt and fly off into the sky.
But whose Justice League is that?
Well, right, exactly. Is that Justice
League? I guess
is
there's that, but like I don't want to see them kill off Clark.
Right.
I don't want to see that. I need Clark. I want Clark because that's the connection that he has with Lois. That's the connection that he has with his mom. He is Clark Kent. I think that's one of the things actually about, and I will say this. So imagine this. I got a negative about Zack Snyder's version of this is that
it's a separate video.
Too many people seem to be in on Clark's secret there. I mean, basically all of Smallville seems to be in on it. Because everybody's seen it. You talked earlier about Pete Ross, like seeing him in the IHOP and everything. It's like, it's obviously Clark. They obviously can see that it's Clark. They know that it's Clark.
Yeah.
Apparently, when he was a kid, he was pulling buses out of rivers and stuff. And the parents of those kids were coming and going, no, we saw him do this. So that's one little thing. Lex obviously knows that he's Clark Kent.
Right.
Because he calls him Clark Joseph Kent. He knows he takes Martha.
Clark Joseph.
So I guess there are a few of those issues.
He's kissed them
I
all.
would just have Clark
everybody.
I would just have Clark take Perry White aside and be like, I'm Superman. And then Perry White goes in and just deletes his obituary from the newspaper in the online thing.
There's ways. I know that there's ways that you could do it. I mean, but I felt that they did a really good job of it in the original comic book, where they showed because there was rubble around the death of Superman. Because buildings were taken out, just like in Man of Steel, and so there was all that stuff that was going on. And they made up a story that Clark was trapped. They didn't have to they didn't have a funeral with a body and all those, to really drive home that point. It was that, they couldn't find him in the mess. And then all of a sudden, he showed up, and you're able to rectify that. That's a little harder with what happened with the events of Batman v Superman.
The instant you put a body there, that makes it.
Yeah. That makes it really hard.
Well, was Perry White at the funeral? Because it could have just been people all from Smallville who knew he was Superman.
Well, yeah,
That's an interesting
Ooh,
point.
Vincent had-
yeah. I Perry White was there at the funeral, and so was Jenny. So theoretically, they're like, well, Clark's dead, and they had the obituary they show the obituary in the Planet.
Well, we just got an interesting comment.
Vincent said, "What if Martian Manhunter lends a hand in showing that Clark Kent is alive?"
That would be great. You still have to answer the question of who was in the coffin.
Johnny Lakey.
Yeah, but
that's a great comment.
But the thing is, I guess what you could say is that we're living in a world now of aliens. We're living in a world of crazy shenanigans happening. Look, this is Clark. He didn't die. Like, maybe you say Clark was researching the story, was out on the beat and stuff like that, and got caught up in some stuff, and he was kidnapped, and they put out there that he died because they wanted to cover it up.
He was
Or
on
maybe
secret
he was
assignment with
working
Jimmy
with-
Olsen.
They're back.
Yeah, working with Jimmy Olsen in the CIA.
There you go. I mean, there's ways that you can do it. There's definitely ways that you can do it. But I mean, they used Martian Manhunter in the Death and Return of Superman cartoons that just came out, those cartoon movies. They replaced using Matrix, who became Supergirl, at the time back in the 90s, because she was a shapeshifter. And
Speaking of the death of Superman,
what's that?
I think Man of Steel 2 should adapt the reign of the Superman.
Oh, that would be cool. I think it's a bit too late for that. At this point, I would just like to kind of see. I mean, and I shared with you guys last week that, like, when we started talking about like live action stuff that we'd want to see, that was mine, right? Like, I would love to see a proper death reign of Superman, storyline. At this point, really, I just want a good Superman story.
Yeah.
With him as Superman, because he's already back, so you can't really tell the story of him coming back because anything is gonna be after that. At this point. So, I'd like to just see a good Superman story, maybe with Brainiac.
Actually, you got some points here because we have some people that said some stuff about
Okay.
that.
What we got?
Bald Head says, "I really hope they set up a next movie after the Snyder Cut. I believe that they will after they introduce Darkseid. People will be very hyped about the introduction of Darkseid."
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Wesker for Life said, "What villain would you want for Man of Steel 2? Squidmaster said Brainiac. Baldhead says, "I think Brainiac is a great villain, but I think he's going to fit better as a Justice League villain." Wesker says, "Considering the critics for Marvel/Disney, I think they already plan to not give the Snyder Cut a fair chance." And then I asked everybody, who do you think would play the best Brainiac? Derek said probably the guy that did the voice of Brainiac for Injustice 2. I actually think one person that I think could probably... Whoops. Mondays I'm supposed to be working, and I still have my I'm supposed to have a 2:00 conference call.
Okay.
So but I actually think that Benedict Cumberbatch would probably do a really good Brainiac. That's my call, though, me personally. And that's what they were saying, is a couple people were saying to bring back Brainiac, but to what capacity? I also think that if Benedict Cumberbatch, but I think that Jude Law could even pull it off too.
Ooh, yeah, Jude Law was rumored to play Superman for a while. He was actually going to play Superman in the original Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
That was
Those are just
years
my
ago.
two thoughts, though, on who could play a good Brainiac.
I'd want Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
To be Brainiac?
Yeah.
He, other than the fact that he's just getting older and he doesn't have the physicality, I get that. I totally understand that because he's got the voice that you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he's got the look for sure.
How about a little fan service? And since we've got a different Darkseid, why not have Michael Ironside voice Brainiac? He can pull off that menace so well.
Yeah.
That a character like Brainiac needs. And it would be a nice little bit of winking fan service to the people who grew up enjoying the Superman and Justice League cartoons so much. I always think of what the way he delivers things is so spectacular. Like in the Justice League Unlimited, when Lex Luthor is so mad at him and says, "You took Brainiac away from me. I'm going to make you pay." And he just said, the way he says, "Unlikely." It's just so perfectly delivered. I just keep thinking we got to find a way to bring him into this, because he's got to be a villain. And if you've got a new Darkseid, let him do Brainiac.
Yeah.
I like Brainiac. For some reason, I always wanted to see, when I see, this might sound so weird to some people or inflammatory, but I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais. And so I think when I see Ricky Gervais with that impish little grin, I think it'd be interesting to see him play like a Mr. Mxyzptlk or something like that.
Nice.
It just would be.
Now, is it Mxyzptlk? Is it Mxyzptlk or Mxyzptlk?
It's yeah.
I kind of want.
Actually,
What's his
like
name? The short guy.
At the end of the season, I like the guy from Reno 9/11 that actually played Mxyzptlk, and I liked his incarnation of it at the end of Supergirl.
Yeah.
Talk about a Mandela effect. That name is like a Mandela effect in and of itself, because everybody pronounces it differently in canon. In shows and TV shows, and I said Mxyzptlk for like forever, and it'll probably always be Mxyzptlk to me. But like, I've noticed this thing over the last few years. Yeah, I've noticed this thing over the last few years. Like every incarnation that comes out, all of a sudden they're calling Mxyzptlk, and it's
it's just but then again, that's always the way I read it in my head as a kid when I read those books. So it's like
it's
going to be hard to get rid of.
Well, it's kind of like also like with Star Wars with like now they're calling them Twi'leks, but they always called them Twi'leks before.
Yeah.
The creatures that have the like Bib Fortuna, where they have the long head pieces, they come down,
like two snakes almost.
They always called them Twi'leks before, and now all of a sudden everything calls them Twi'leks. So I think some of that stuff they just change, and it just kind of goes with the times.
Going back to Mxyzptlk, who would play him, I kind of want Peter Dinklage.
Ooh.
That would be a good one.
Ooh, talk about spot on casting.
Ooh, that'd be really good too.
Yeah.
Can he come out and do a Space Pants rendition?
I was just thinking the same thing. He'd be wearing space pants.
You guys see the Space Pants thing?
Yep. This guy's thinking about his space pants. I can't focus.
Wait a second, I'm kind of liking this Space Pants thing. I want to see what happens next.
He was great.
That's actually Gwen Stefani.
And space shorts. Sorry, totally left turn here in the council. Point of order.
But we do like Peter Dinklage as that.
I like that casting.
Yeah.
That casting, and just to bring Peter Dinklage into the DC universe.
Yeah. Honestly, you can have Peter Dinklage. I mean, Brainiac is going to be CGI anyway, for the most part. There'd probably be some mocap there, but you could have Peter Dinklage do the voice of Brainiac. He's got that deep, powerful voice.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's for sure true. What we got another
Vincent said perhaps Clark let Perry and Jenny in on his secret if he really trusts them. I agree. General Swansek, aka Martian Manhunter, could make up a story about Clark faking his death while helping the government.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all really good things. Well, I think that I think when it comes down to it, I mean, there's just so many things that are out there, possibilities at this point, and that's what I love about this whole story about seeing the Snyder Cut come to fruition.
Until it comes out next year, we can all just daydream and think about what can happen.
Yeah.
Seriously, this shows us really, guys, that anything is possible anymore.
Yeah.
All these haters, all these naysayers who are trying to come down on the Snyder Cut, on the people who have fought to make this thing happen. Look, the reality at the end of the day, if you supported the Snyder Cut, I just want to speak to you personally. You're okay. You're good people. Don't listen to this garbage. Don't let this dissuade you at all. Don't let this push you in another direction. Don't let it bother you. Don't let it get to you, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, you're in the right. And if you're in the right, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what Andy Signor wants to whine about. It doesn't matter what his little buddy Vito wants to argue about, because nobody cares about that anyways. Everybody was like, who's that guy when I did my live stream. It doesn't matter what Jody's Corner says. It doesn't matter what Collider says. It doesn't matter what article anybody writes, what anybody says, because here's the thing. The Snyder Cut is coming. 2021, that Snyder Cut is ours. It's coming, good, bad, indifferent, whatever the movie ends up being, or the miniseries, whatever, it is coming. We're going to watch it, and we're going to see it happen. Right. Now, here's the thing. People can call you whatever they want to call you. They can. I've told many people, like I said, in threads on Facebook and stuff like that, that like I'll make a comment, a positive comment about the Snyder Cut, and all of a sudden, people put the laughing emoji, because that's the new, passive aggressive thing to do. It's like if you see something, you just hit the laughing emoji, to basically say you're mocking them. And I answered a bunch of people. I said, you can laugh all you want. You can laugh all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm the one laughing, because guess what? We got the Snyder Cut.
Right.
And the thing is, and it's not just a thing of we got the Snyder Cut and they're just like, okay, here, take the Snyder Cut. For goodness sake, just leave us alone. Because the company that is making it and put up 30 million, they're putting up 20 to $30 million to make the thing, to finish the thing. And they're supporting the thing. They're talking positively about the fans.
Right.
Right. So all these other people want to make up this narrative that everybody's angry and everybody's so frustrated about it, and poor Warner Brothers and everything. Warner Brothers is going to be just fine. Warner Brothers is going to make some good money off this thing, and they're going to be just fine, and it ain't going to hurt nobody's feelings. Okay. I do still think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months with Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. Just because I think that they can all exist together, but it'll be interesting to see what side of the aisle Matt Reeves falls when it comes to how he feels about this. I don't think that he should take this as any kind of assault against his movie, because we all know that unless they've been lying to us and Robert Pattinson is supposed to be the new Batman in the DCEU, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We can have more than one, even if they want to go forward with Batfleck and Ben Affleck comes back, it's not going to matter. It's not going to change anything, because it's two different worlds, and it's okay. And I'm smart enough to differentiate between the two, okay? And I think a lot of you are too. So at the end of the day, you're in the right. All we did was campaign for something that we loved, and we wanted to see. We wanted an artist to be able to realize his vision. He's getting that. We helped a man get closure over something that was a tragedy in his life. You know what I mean? Like, this is a movie that Zack Snyder was working. It was a passion project. Obviously, it's a passion project for him because he's been working on this thing still. And he's been putting it out there and putting out pictures and different things and little seeds of things and getting the fandom to go ahead with this. So you can call it a cult. I don't care. Like I said yesterday in my live stream, you want to call it a cult because I support a guy getting closure and help not just for him and his family having suffered their loss, but also help for others as they're raising money to help others who are going through these things and try to help them out through their plight. You want to call that a cult? You know what? Fine. I'll put on my suit and tie and go door to door and knock and sing the praises of our savior of the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder. I don't care. I don't care at this point.
Receive the Snyder Cut into your life.
Yes. Feel it. Can you feel the Snyder Cut? Reach out your hand right there where you are. Touch that screen. For behold, the Snyder Cut is coming. Yay, it is on its way. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Oh, can I get an amen? Somebody.
Amen.
Oh, yes. Oh, I feel
Amen.
it. Oh, I feel it. It's on its way. And you too can be part of the Snyder Cut if you just let the Snyder Cut into your life. Let him in. Let it in. Let Zack Snyder lead the way into something that is beautiful come 2021. I'm going to make a prediction, 2021. It's like, like all those guys who make predictions about the coming of Christ, right? We already know it's coming in 2021. It's coming in 2021. You heard it here first. I'm telling you right now. Listen, at the end of the day, we're good. We're good. People can say all they want to, but man, we're sitting here, we're literally having a conversation about what we want to see in it because we know it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't let people get you down. You know, keep your head up, you know, but I do feel like we got to answer this stuff.
Yep.
I do feel like we got to, you know, speak up for the fact that we know that it's coming. And it's something that we've fought hard for. People have fought really hard for this thing. And it's not because they're crazy. It's not because they're bad people or bullies or whatever. They just wanted to see a movie, you know? And you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. I love doing these councils, having these conversations because I think that it shows that there are people who care, you know? And you guys are great. I love all of your thoughts and your opinions on this. And there's a lot of great stuff here. Any closing comments anybody want to throw in there?
Hashtag make Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2.
Justice League 2. There we go. Like somebody said, release the Poindexter cut.
Yeah, right.
At least in an animated film or something. Give us a sequel as an animated film.
Yeah, and I want to keep the positivity going because you know, it excites me to see somebody like Harrison who is you know, so well versed in the Marvel universe to be excited about this. I think that speaks volumes to like you said, Enoch, being in the right. So I mean, that excites me, you know, to see that people from all parts of the fandom should be able to get excited about this.
Yeah, come together.
Yeah.
Just like the theme song from Justice League. Come together right now over Zack Snyder, over the Snyder cut. Harrison, what do you got to say, man? What are some of your closing ideas and thoughts?
I want to add one more thing that I would like to see in the movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene with Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Flash and Batman. And basically, this is right before they resurrect Superman. And basically, Aquaman just says, you know, if they do this, there's no coming back from it. And if they do this, sometimes, you know, you lose something in yourself. You don't have your soul. And like Superman won't have his soul, maybe. So skip forward to when they actually do resurrect Superman, and, you know, going back to the scene that Tiffany was talking about, I wish they would have made Superman look a little different. Because he looks like Clark Kent in that scene, which that's fine. I mean, he's supposed to look like Clark Kent, but maybe with a little bit of a twist, because he's and maybe this is just the creative in me, you know, wanting to mold it to my, you know, liking, but I would have made his eyes just all white because he's not all there. And then I would have, once he saw Lois, then he's there. Then his eyes come back.
That's a good take.
It would have been cool if they had brought like John Constantine in, like bringing Keanu Reeves, and like he doesn't have his soul. Let's get him his soul back, like they did in Arrow.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because when he comes back, he's not himself, and so to have him, you know, it'll be interesting to see how Zack Snyder brings Clark back.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and more than likely, Zack Snyder's not going to do it that way, and I'm excited to see his take on how he brings Superman back. And
I wonder.
Go ahead, Caleb.
I wonder if they'll do it like in Batman v Superman with that same thing they used to create Doomsday.
Yeah.
Well, knowing Zack Snyder's affinity for following comics, okay. And I think that's one thing that we have to remember. Zack Snyder is as much as people want to hate on the man, the guy knows comics.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely tries to follow what's there, you know, what the source material is. So we have to ask ourselves, well, how did Superman come back the first time? Well, Superman was put in a regeneration chamber in the Fortress of Solitude, which harnesses the power of the sun, because he when he fought Doomsday, he didn't technically die. He was basically at the biggest point of death you could possibly be. Imagine a rechargeable battery, because that's what Superman is.
Right.
He's a rechargeable battery. And he had literally exhausted all of his power to the point where he was right at the point of death and would have died if the Eradicator had not come in, grabbed his body out of the tomb, because he was buried in no sunlight, and so brought him out of that, put him into the regeneration chamber. And it took literally however long that storyline was in the comic, months, we have to assume, for the chamber to regenerate his body. And even when he came out of the chamber in the black suit and the long hair and everything, he wasn't at full power.
Right.
Even then, he had to still get his wherewithal. So knowing that, like, I could totally see them doing a thing of, like, the first part of that movie is them saying, we've got to get his body, we've got to do this, and putting him into a regeneration chamber. Obviously, we don't have a Fortress of Solitude, but the ship has been kind of deemed that in the Snyderverse as kind of his Fortress of Solitude. So why not?
Right.
You know, to be and have the thing, well, like, you know, hey, last time this happened, we got Doomsday.
Yeah.
You know, and have that kind of thing. And then they have to wait.
Yeah. If we do get the Fortress of Solitude, I want the Jor-El AI.
Oh yeah. That'd be
yeah.
nice. It'd be nice to see Russell Crowe back, because Russell Crowe did a great job as Jor-El.
Sure did. Yeah.
Excellent Jor-El. Excellent Jor-El. Those are some great thoughts, Harrison, as far as that goes, because yeah, I'm the point of this is it's going to be a different movie altogether, right? I mean, that's the exciting thing about this. We've all seen Justice League how many times now,
Right,
and
right.
literally when we put this thing on, man, on HBO Max, the deal is it's going to be a different movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be a completely different movie than the one we've seen.
Yeah.
But that's exciting. That's the kind of thing that gets you up in the morning, man. That's the kind of thing that like usually when we do our live streams and stuff of you know, TV shows and stuff, like when we've done Clone Wars, or you know, or any show that's like on a streaming service, we usually do it, you know, later in that day, because, you know, usually I go to work and everything and come home, and we do it like 7-8 o'clock at night, where you figure. And most people have said, well, we've already watched it, but we're going to rewatch it with you, because they watched it at, you know, midnight when it came out. Dude, Snyder Cut? Yeah, no, sorry. The moment that Snyder Cut is available, I'm gonna be one of those people out there crashing the servers, because
Yeah, there's no waiting for that. That's
there ain't no waiting for that, man. There ain't no, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll watch it again tomorrow with y'all. But I'm gonna be on that, man, watching that thing right away. Right. What about you, Jason? What are your closing thoughts, man?
I think it's important to remember the negativity that's coming out. I think is a distinct minority of people. I think most of the fandom is just truly excited for this. It's unique in the annals of film history. It's a reason for joy, and I think most people get that. I think it's easy for the negativity to become louder than the positivity, because everybody had their positivity the day it was announced, and they were like, "Holy, can you believe it happened? Yay!" Yeah. And we kind of shot the shot, and we're like, "Yes, it happened." And now everybody's kind of like settled into, well, let's speculate, let's talk about what's going to happen, what do we want to see, what don't we, like we're doing now. And then that negativity, people put it out for whatever reason. It's still a minority of people. And I think most people are genuinely excited that this is happening, and that we're going to get to see, for better or for worse, what Zack Snyder had in mind. I personally think it's going to be very much so for the better. But even if it's not, he still gets to realize his artistic vision, and that's important.
Yeah.
So I think,
Closure.
you know, at the end of the day, it's a reason for happiness. It's a reason for joy. It's a reason for the fans to be excited. So don't let the negativity get you down. It's important to counter it with positive vibes like we've been doing, but it's also important to remember that, like Enosh just said, we won the day, and now we can be excited about what we're going to get.
Yep. And I would just suggest to anybody like online and stuff, because it's really tempting and easy to get sucked into debates with people, about stuff just like politics, right? But the thing is at the end of the day, we know we got it coming. So anybody who wants to like try to bait you and like pull you out on this thing and like mock, the Snyder Cut, or mock you, or mock us as DC fans or whatever, 2 words: we won.
Yep.
Caleb, you got anything there before we go?
Yeah. Speaking of HBO Max, this is not an ad, by the way. Today and tomorrow are the last days you can sign up for HBO Max at a reduced price for a year.
Oh, okay.
So if you haven't got HBO Max yet, go on and get that.
There you go. Yeah. There's
advice.
lots of other stuff on HBO Max. Like me personally, I'm waiting until the Snyder Cut, just because there's not really content that like I want to see right now. But you know what? Yeah, man.
There's Looney Tunes, there's DC
I know there's
stuff like that.
I know there's tons of stuff on there, so it's definitely worth checking out. Well, Tifftastic, what are you being our resident woman? We're going to give you the respect of having the final word today. So I don't know if you guys have seen PLW, my Poindexter Lounge Wrestling, the stupidity of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's stupid, but it's so much fun throwing action figures together and seeing because all those results, man, those are unscripted. Like whoever wins, and
like
so
when we were little kids and you throw them together.
Yeah, that's what it was. A game that I played when I was a kid. I'd play with my figures and throw them together, my GI Joes, man, and it was like wrestling, and it was like you'd always have a different outcome and a different winner. So like we just put narrative to it afterwards. But somebody told me yesterday, in fact, it was Darth Tasty, my good friend Ryan. He said what we needed to do was I need to complete my Enosh Fett figure, which they're saying because when I straighten my hair, I look like AJ Styles. So they're saying I need to make my Enosh Fett figure, and if you've been around for a while, I've made 2 action figures now of Tiffany, because she used to go by Grand Tiff Tarkin.
That's my Star Wars name.
That's her Star Wars name.
Mainly, but Grand Tiff.
So she's got 2 figures now that I've made for her custom figures, and so they were Darth Tasty was telling me that at some point we need to lead up to the storyline that because she's the heel announcer, on the thing, and so she's got her little quips and stuff, and so at some point we got to get into a fight for leadership of PLW.
Nice.
And that her action figure versus my action figure. I don't know. We'll see.
I just want to be careful with the paint job.
Yes, we'll see how that works out. But talking about Wonder Woman and all those things and respecting and stuff, what do you have to say as your closing ideas and thoughts?
I think it's awesome that, because I feel that some people have just thought, well, if you complain and whine enough that you get your way, like a spoiled little brat kind of thing, and that's not the thing for me. It's not that we just whined and complained enough to just get our way. Yeah. It's something that people have wanted. When we understood what happened with Snyder and his family and why he had to step away, we thought, okay, well, at least we have Joss Whedon who's going to come in and he's going to, take the reins and give us the movie that we still wanted. But I think that it's going to be interesting and just exciting just to see what Snyder, seeing his vision come to life. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with it being a brand new movie. Just because I want to see his take on it. I want to see what his thoughts were. I want to see where he went with it. Yeah. I'm on the same page with you guys with, like I said, I'm not like some, female empowerment kind of thing, but I think it's awesome that, some other guys, especially in this council, feel the same way about, the empowering women without having to over sexualize and stuff like that. So I hope that some of that stuff is maybe kind of rectified in this movie, but there's just a lot of stuff that's exciting that we can do. Can we get another Justice League out of this? Can we, who would be the bad guy? There's all these different, it's like a domino effect of the awesomeness that can come from this. Yeah. Even if it's, coming on HBO Max, what can actually go into the theaters and stuff. So I'm excited to see that. And I think it's just awesome, just the possibilities of what we can get from this.
Yeah, well, and I think those are all really good points, Tiff. Is that at the end of the day, this was not a bunch of whiners. This was not a bunch of complainers. Like I even saw we were watching Rick and Morty last night.
Well,
and
someone said, "Hey, you whined enough," and we realized if you whine enough, you get your way, and that's not what this is.
Adult Swim kind of like they kind of did it tongue in cheek, where I don't know how to really take it, but they showed a picture of the Justice League, and they said, well, this week we found out that if you whine enough to the studios, you finally get what you want. And then they were trying to make that point for like their people to whine for more Metalocalypse, if you remember Metalocalypse back in the day, right? And so I think it was kind of tongue in cheek, but I reject the notion that this was because a bunch of people just complained for 3 years. I reject that. This has been a passion play for people and for Zack Snyder. This has been something, look.
And we get to see his passion project.
Yeah, if this was something that fans were not led to believe was real, it would have died. If this was just a bunch of whiners, this would have died eventually, because
it's like Lucas saying, "Oh yeah, there's not more Star Wars."
Yeah, it would have died. But the reality was Zack Snyder kept it alive because it was important to Zack Snyder. And the fans kept it alive because Zack Snyder's vision was important to them.
And the fans kept it alive because it was important to Henry Cavill.
Yep, it was important. It was important to Jason Momoa.
Yep.
It was important to Gal Gadot.
And you see
Ben Affleck.
little snippets online.
Yeah, even with all that Ben Affleck went through, this was important to Ben Affleck. Like Ben Affleck went through one of the worst periods of time. And I don't know Ben Affleck's personal story and everything that he went through, but I gotta believe the pressure from Warner Brothers, like messing with stuff and messing this movie up, and something that Ben was super excited about doing because he's a huge Batman fan, and this was his dream role. That's why he took the part, and then for them to kind of mess this up,
take the joy of it out.
I'd want to walk away too.
I'm sure that I'm not saying that led to all of his issues, but I'm saying it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It definitely doesn't help. And so, because I've seen people saying like, oh, look at these Snyder cult people. They actually want Ben Affleck to come back and mess up his life by getting back to being Batman. It wasn't being Batman that messed him up.
No.
That's not what
personal stuff.
That was
personal life.
It was his personal life that was going on and other stresses that messed that up. And like I said, I'm sure the debacle that ended up becoming Justice League and all these movies and stuff, I'm sure. And like the way that fans picked on him at Batman v Superman and the memes that people made of sad Ben Affleck and all that stuff doesn't help.
Right.
So I think we're living in a different world right now. We're living in a different time where, like I said before, these movies are now picking up steam. People are watching them on TNT. They're being shown regularly. Right? They're starting to be seen in more positive. People are picking out things in these movies that we didn't see before. We talked about the Doomsday thing from Krypton, where the moon is split in parts. And I never knew that, but after watching that with Zack Snyder, I was like, oh, dude, that's cool. I'm never going to look at that the same way again in Man of Steel. Because now I know that story's going to... You know what else I saw this last week that I never really noticed before was watching BVS in the nightmare scene. Like all the attention is always on, like Batman, and the attention is on the Omega symbol and all that stuff. I never noticed. I mean, I knew there was fire and flames, but I didn't notice that the planet looked like Apocalypse.
Yep.
Because like Apocalypse has, the big holes with the fire coming out and stuff like that. In the background, you could see there's big holes in the ground and fire coming out. So they've terraformed Earth to be that, you know? And I never really noticed that. I just saw fire and, my focus was always on Batman and what was right in front of me. And it's amazing what you can find in these movies that you weren't able to find before that will now be seen because it's it's out there now and it's being shown regularly, and it just changes perception over time. And I think DC is poised and ready to do some amazing things with AT&T showing some leadership, giving some direction, and pointing us in the right way. And so I encourage all of you out there who are Snyder fans, who are part of the Snyder cult. We'll take it, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Sign me up. I got some literature for you.
The high priests of the Snyder cult.
I got some pamphlets that I can leave with you. We could talk about it another time. Maybe we can do a Snyder study later.
We're all walking around with our Superman ties and white shirts on.
That
About
reminds
our
me
great
of
leader
when,
Zack Snyder, and his disciples Henry Cavill, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck, and Ezra Miller. But you know, one of the things, and we'll leave off with this, because I'm surprised that Caleb didn't mention it, because he mentioned it in our little private discussion, and that was, who are the seven?
Yeah.
Who are the seven? In the
Yeah.
campaign, we all saw the stuff that said unite the seven. We didn't know if that was the seven Seas, because we saw it with Jason Momoa and Aquaman. You know, if that was his storyline, because it could quite possibly be, or was it unite the seven Justice League members? Because the only Justice League member right now, like kind of an original Justice League member that we haven't seen, is Green Lantern. You know, or does that include Martian Manhunter?
Martian Manhunter, yeah.
You know, Martian Manhunter's in there too, so that's 8. So who knows, right? I mean, we don't really know, but I want to see that story. I want to know what that unite the seven really meant. Nobody has, like, if I had been in that chat leading up to it, I think that's one of the things that I would have asked Zack Snyder, because we've never gotten a definitive answer of what unite the seven meant.
Yeah.
And whatever it means, I just like to know. Right. You know, it's kind of like watching the Snyder Cut. I just want to know if it's good, bad, whatever. I just want to know. Just tell me.
Right.
So, but hey, you know what? This has been great. It's a great discussion. It's always great doing these councils. I love it. I love the fact that there's other input, and that you guys are. I love the fact that you guys are versed. You know what you're talking about. That's what you're going to get here, ladies and gentlemen. When you watch the Poindexter Lounge, what I'm finding out, guys, is that like a lot of this stuff from these pundits and these critics and these people who are supposed to be in the know and everything, they don't really know anything. They read the exact same trades that we read. They read the exact same things. They watch the exact same videos. They hear the exact same things, the reports and everything. And all they do is they give their spin on it. And that's why you have things like Andy Signor saying that the Snyder Cut wasn't coming, and then the next day it came.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to tell you all now, when you watch the Poindexter, because I'm watching these other videos and I'm seeing people literally throw money at these people, like for super chats and all this stuff. Like, you know, like there's one that like they got a robo thing that like chimes in, and like the robo voice comes in and says, Phil Jenkins just gave $25, and then it like reads his comment in a robot voice, and I'm like,
the spinoff of Collider.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Like, and I love, you know, Christian Harloff and all those people. I love Mark Ellis. Mark Ellis is like my hero. But the thing is that like people are throwing money at that, and every once in a while, John Campea gets like somebody who gives $100, and it's like, guys, don't throw your money away at that stuff, right? Because literally, it's all speculation. It's all speculation. We appreciate each and every person here at the Poindexter Lounge. Look, we don't expect anything from anybody. You know, we appreciate you if you give a super chat, who was it who gave a super chat earlier? I want to just shout them out again. There it is. Andrew Farr. If you're still on, man, you're awesome. We appreciate you guys so much here at the Poindexter Lounge. You guys keep us going. You give us encouragement to keep going and to keep talking about this stuff, and it's so appreciated, and we love you guys so much. And that's why when I come on, I call them my nerd family, because you guys aren't just subscribers, you aren't just watchers. I consider you my nerd family. I consider you guys part of this, man. We're in this thing together. That's why we started the lounge, was to be able to. That's why I love doing this, because it realizes what our original vision was to be able to talk with people and have a sounding board and be able to bounce ideas off each other and talk about these things that we love, not just us sitting up here as celebrities and you know, something special, you know, like, oh, look at Enosh and Tiffany, like we want to be the next thing, you know, and get in with all these celebrities stuff. No, we're here for the people. We're here at the grassroots. That's why I say, like, every time we get like 1 or 2 subscribers from a live stream or stuff, man, it's a grassroots effort. I don't care if we got to build it 1 or 2 subscribers at a time. We'll get wherever we're going. The point is you're here, and we're glad that you're here. And like I said, we're just thankful for you. So keep it up, guys. Keep up the good work. Council, you're awesome. Keep fighting the good fight. The never-ending battle, as Superman would say. Because it is a never-ending battle. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be some evil out there, some member of the Legion of Doom that sneaks out and tries to make a knockoff T-shirt. But we will stand true and firm, because we are the Poindexter Council. Yes. And you're all a part of it with us here in the lounge. So thank you guys for your time today. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who commented. And we look forward to the next time we are together with another topic and another discussion. Until then, the council is officially done for today. You're excused.
We are adjourned.
Have a wonderful Memorial Day, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, councilman.
Thanks, everybody.
See you, everybody.